are the geckos again? Because
So
you were telling me earlier that she rescued them.
so this woman worked at PetSmart PetSmart for like years, and she said that she felt that the geckos there, they were leopard geckos, and they were always raised awful, and they were uh, abused or whatever through PetSmart, and like it was such a tragic situation. So she would buy them from the store to save them. So she ended up with probably 15 geckos, and she had this room, and it was just these geckos were just stacked on top of each other, and then nothing was ever cleaned out. And when we got there, it was just awful. And these geckos, one was dead, like they were just like
Oh,
hardly fed, and she in her mind thought that she was saving them. At one point she probably did really take good care of them, but when we
you
arrived we were
think
like,
so?
I think so, because then, like I said, I think at some point during their life, trauma, depression hits, and then they
Yeah.
don't realize that they're abusing these animals. All they know is that they saved them.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's I think it just carries over to being like, well, they're better off with me than with someone that's not as good as me, even though even though it's messy or whatever. It's like that justification of I really do care, and so it's almost like that supersedes the logic of being able to just see like these are not in a good condition.
yeah,
But it's like you said, because you said that she saw how they were being raised. Was that
well,
like
she
by
thought they,
Petco
yeah,
or
she thought
PetSmart or
PetSmart was, just
oh
neglecting them. She thought that
oh
she was doing a favor. She didn't think that pet stores take very good care of their animals that they're trying to sell, right? So
yeah
she was taking them home to give them a better life. And then as
okay.
time went on,
See,
years,
I thought you were.
weeks,
I thought almost that she was saying that she saw how like other people treated them, like
no,
whenever they
no,
came in to buy them.
the pet store. So anyway, there was probably about 15 geckos, and like by the time we got there, there were only 7 or so left, and we rescued all of them. We found there was a guy that was just outside, and he saw some fish tanks out on our drive, out on the grass when we were clearing her house out. And he was like, "Are you, he was a roofer, I think. He was just door knocking. He was like, "Are you getting rid of that? I've got geckos at my house, and I breed them." And we were just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Serendipity.
We were like, "Would you be interested in helping us? This woman has all these geckos, and she
Would you
needs to
like a
let..."
bunch of free
Yeah,
geckos?
he took like 5 of them. He took 4 or 5, and we took 3 back with us.
What did you do with the three?
We ended up taking these 3 geckos back with us. 2 went to one of our coworkers, and then another one went to a friend.
Okay.
And but we actually had to like vet the guy that took the rest of them to make sure that he was genuinely not gonna like.
Do the same thing as
Yeah,
the lady?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my
But I'm
gosh.
just grateful. I'm just grateful that she was able to let them go, because she could have kept
Oh
on
yeah.
with them, and
So she was there the whole time.
she was there the
Or
whole time. She said, "I just can't handle them anymore. They're too much for me. I need to take care of myself, my priorities." I think she might have had a cat or a couple of cats and dogs, whatever. The geckos just weren't getting, they were just being neglected. So she allowed us to rehome them and take the rest of them with us. And yeah, they're like thriving.
that's awesome.
I have a video on
How
my,
big are they?
oh, they're leopard, there's leopard geckos. They're like, I don't know, this big. Where my story is going is just how it gets to the point where with these cats, there's always cats, and I love cats. I remember having 4 at my house growing up all the time. We had 3, 4 cats.
Oh,
But I know you don't like
I'm not
cats,
a big cat person.
but I am.
Yeah.
I am. But if you can handle 4 cats, then it's great. But if you can't, it just becomes an absolute nightmare, because you start not cleaning the litter trays out, and
Mhm.
then they start messing, and then if you leave stuff on the floor and the litter tray's full, they're going to go poop over there, and then I mean it just turns into an absolute nightmare, and then they pee on everything and they spray the furniture, and then it's just a nightmare trying to clean that up, and the people don't realize, they don't
Because they're
see,
just numb to the
they're,
scent by that point,
yes,
too.
they're numb to the scent, and they just don't. They think that I mean, they love so fiercely these cats. They love them, and think they don't see the neglect, and they don't see
Yeah.
the
Sometimes love is not all you need. Sometimes you need to
it's the
take the litter
capacity.
out.
Yes, Yes. So there's been this one job we went into. It was absolutely insane. I've never seen it was like a sea of cat tins. So we opened the door and we're walking through this house and it's just like crunch, 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 crunch. And it's just like the
Oh, I
entire
remember.
living room is a sea of cat tins. So I mean they were getting fed, but there was probably about this was the I've actually heard of there's another client, we haven't helped them yet, and they said they had 30 cats. But I think this one is one of the biggest for amount of cats that there are in this house. I think there were 9 or 10.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. But there were also boxes and boxes of like cremated, uh, like tins or little, little
Like
cremations.
cremation boxes.
Yeah.
Like it
So,
was
so she'd been
how many
collect.
of how many of those were there? How many cremated cats did this lady have?
So she had probably about 10 or 15 boxes,
Oh my
but
God.
that was over a course of probably 20 years. She'd had all these cats her whole life, whatever. And as
How
they
wait, okay,
died,
how
as
long do cats live typically? I don't know this because I don't care for cats. How long do cats live
I mean,
typically?
if they keep them inside, probably 20 years, but 18, 15 years, like 15 years.
And she went through 10 of them in 20 years?
Well, I don't know. I don't,
What what was this lady doing with these cats?
I don't know.
Cuz this was the mummified cat house too.
Yes. So basically the story was the sister had ended up finding out her sister was living like this because she ended up in hospital. Same story, something happened, she got sick and she went to hospital. Then her sister comes in from another state, hires us, we come in to do the cleanup. She's already rehomed these cats or at least like got them out of the house, but she said there was one missing. And so we were looking for this cat, and she said her sister said there was a cat here, a few weeks ago, and she hasn't found it yet. So when we find it, we need to put it into, this carrier and keep it safe. Well, so,
Assuming it was alive. Like
yeah,
they hadn't found this for how they hadn't seen this cat for how long and they thought it was going to be alive?
yeah. Well, I guess she hoped. So anyway, we're cleaning it up, and
Ludicrous.
it's probably day 2, and we found a mummified cat skull. So it definitely
Yes.
wasn't that one. That was probably like 4 years old or something. And then we're into this living room. We've cleaned up all the cat cans, which, by the way, in the middle of the room of these cat tins, there was a twin box spring in the middle of this living room. And it was like an island in the cat sea of cat tins. There was like this island.
Was she sleeping there?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't find anywhere where she was on the couch. I don't know.
It was just there. There was just a bed box spring in the middle of the living room.
Yeah, so we would like wade out to the box spring and we were like we were like on our little island, imagining we were in some exotic location.
I can I can see you doing that, especially with the coworker we were with.
And so we clean everything up, everything looks great, whatever. We're moving into the next room, and the next room it was there was this couch, and we just like pulled these boxes down from where this couch was, and there it was, right there, trapped between the couch and the wall, still fluffy, probably a couple weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know. And so we found our cat dead, and it was awful. I mean, I've seen, remains, but not,
Yeah. I've seen plenty of bones.
yeah.
Bone that is one of the weird things about this job is like what you get used to, I feel like. And
Hmm.
getting used to animal carcasses is not something I ever thought that I would do in a professional capacity
Yeah.
in any way.
Hmm.
Um, God, see the bones are common, especially the one that I didn't find it. One of our coworkers did, and I hear from the other room, "I found a dead cat." This was also one of the another uh, diaper
Oh, okay.
warehouse,
Yeah.
and I was in one room cleaning all that up.
Oh, yeah.
So I was happy to get out of there and go take a break. But I go into the next room, and like the cat, I think it was the one that you mentioned that was like 4 years old, maybe. But it was under the bed, We had found it under the bed. We were
Yeah.
literally shoveling junk, just papers,
That
boxes,
was a big
food.
house. That was a tiny, tiny pathway through the entire house, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because we were like, it took us a while just to get kind of through the front
yeah. Because I think
area.
I was there the second. I started on the second day, and was there for the rest of it. So you had taken the brunt of it, I think,
There's
of the
always
beginning.
there's always such a weird like I never know whether it's going to be there's a sliding scale. You either we've had the extreme of not even being able to open the door. Like you can't.
Hmm.
It took us an hour. There was an apartment and she'd hoarded it out for probably 30 years. She was climbing over these mounds of trash and not even it was
I've
stuff.
never heard this
Oh
story.
my gosh, this was a little old lady and she had to get the fire brigade came and they broke the door down to get her out. There was no back door, and she was just in this like I think it was a two-bedroom apartment. Yeah, and she was maybe it was actually just even one bedroom. It was
What was she
tiny.
eating? Like, how was she getting out to go
She lived on
grocery
this
shopping?
couch, and there were just roach. I remember this was like the roach. The roach infestation was insane.
Ugh.
There were no cats. This was just roaches all over. Like as soon as we finally got in, like and we, I remember the couch was where she was sleeping because she. That's it. It was one bedroom. The bed was not even. You couldn't even access the bed
Hmm.
or even get into the room. And she had built it all up around this couch, and then it started making its way kind of to the door, and I think it might have all like toppled over one day, and then she was stuck in there.
Oh,
And so that's when the fire brigade just had to come and they had to rescue her, break the door down to get her out. They actually put the door back and then took her to hospital. And then we came in and we spent almost an hour because, we could open the door like that much.
yeah.
And so we're now like picking things through, and it took us an hour just to get the door like slightly open to be able to start clearing the stuff out.
Okay, I think that was no, that was the apartment you said.
Yeah,
That was
that
that
was an
apartment
apartment.
because that was also that's what or what you had told me similar to the house that with the mummified, like the truly mummified cat, because that one, yeah, that was the one I came the second day. Oh yeah, that cat was shoved under the bed, so like it was a fully mummified, like no hair on it, nothing. Its face, like it was frozen,
Mm.
like no hair. The eyes were hollowed out, of course, but it was under there for so long, and this woman, I guess, had just like was shoving stuff aside so that she could walk. And the cat was probably under the bed at the time,
And
and she
got trapped.
shoved a bunch of stuff in there. But what was crazy to me, the craziest part to me, was that it was so jam packed under there that the cat got flattened essentially, and it decomposed almost entirely. Like it was so well preserved, weirdly, for how long it had been there, that it was like how much stuff was underneath this one bed, like what was under there. And then I was thinking, oh, maybe the ammonia helped preserve it,
Mm.
because some of these houses, like, it just smells like ammonia because of cat pee.
Mm.
I remember that house. We got sick from that one too.
Mm-hmm.
It was terrible. What other than the cats and
The leopard
the
geckos.
leopard geckos, what is the worst dog one other than the pulmonologist's house, because that was terrible?
Well, yeah,
Have you
again, that
seen?
that one as well though. Like she had seven dogs that were matted so badly, but she loved those dogs. They were everything to her. But she couldn't take care of them anymore. She couldn't take care of herself anymore. So she doesn't see what's happening to them. It's like she just doesn't realize she's so deep in depression and isolation
That's
and
and
mental issues that she's just not realizing. And that transformation was amazing though when we finally got those all those dogs like shaved and they all got immunizations up to check and they got like their nails cut and shaved and bathed and they
they
were
were,
so
yeah, because they were really. I mean, they had been that way for a
they had
couple of years at
mats
least.
all they were matted like to the root, weren't
Yeah,
they?
and it wasn't just matted. It was matted with
Yeah,
poop and pee
yeah,
and dirt and all kinds of stuff,
yeah,
because they were little. They had turned into like little mop dogs
yes.
that
They
were
look like
picking
little
up.
Bob Marley dogs, little dreads. They just
Yes,
dreaded.
yeah, they had dreads
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
It was so matted that you couldn't even really tell what kind of dog it was. Sometimes I just knew they were ankle biters.
Yeah.
My first day there, they nipped at me quite a few times. That was whenever we were working on books in the bedroom.
It's so funny. At first, I was like, keep those dogs away from me. And then when they finally got into their new house and they finally got shaved and cleaned up, they were actually really nice. Like
Really?
they
Like
ended
they
up,
were
yeah,
pleasant?
they ended up like, we ended up being able to get close to them and pet some of them. And it was like
Dang.
a complete transfer. They were miserable. They were living in their own feces and
Yeah, I
they
see. I
couldn't
wonder
see.
how long they had been that way because obviously, as she declined in her
Yeah.
health and independence, then their care would obviously decline. Did she ever say how long it had been since like they'd seen the vet or a groomer or
No,
anything like that?
no, she didn't. I know it was years. I mean, they were all like malnourished as well and
Oh yeah,
underweight. Probably the worst
angry.
dog situation was the one in the country where her boyfriend had left her. So basically they'd started this uh, dog rehabilitation company, and they bought this piece of land, and it used to already be a dog training facility, so it had like all these outdoor dog, it was like pretty cool piece of land. I think it's on like 3 acres, had like all these,
Or does it have like one of those like dog runs, like where they do
yeah,
like
like
the
it
up the steps
at
in
one
the
point it looked like,
tunnels?
it was going to be it would have been an awesome place, and so what happened is they specifically took aggressive dogs. And then what they did though is they took these dogs and they said, we will change your dogs, like we will bring your dogs back to, we'll rehabilitate them and they'll be good dogs again, and it's a 2 week or 3 month course, whatever.
That's a
It's
big
cost it costs
promise.
this much money, kind of thing. And so these people were paying them all this money, and she had, or I guess they were both certified to, like, they were trainers. And then he just walked off with all the money, and he left her with all these disobedient dogs. And apparently, like, what happened was these owners came back to collect their dogs, or like they came and the dogs hadn't, there was no difference,
Changed.
and so they were like, well, we can't bring these dogs back to our home, they're unsafe around our children, and so we don't want them, and you also stole money from us. And so she ended up with 14 dogs that were all aggressive, and she's trauma from him just running off, and so she's got no money, she's trying to like keep these dogs alive. They were so malnourished and skinny that some of them were like, you could see the ribs, and but she loved every single one of them. And she took in these dogs that were like handicapped too, like some were running around with like
Oh.
3 legs, or paralyzed and stuff, and this woman took on way too much. And every dog had to be separated in a different kennel, and so inside her house, which wasn't very big, it was probably like 1,600 square feet, it was full to the brim of just all these dog crates, because they all had to be created separately. As soon as you open that door, rah 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 rah, like they're
Yeah.
all shouting at you and screaming and like barking at each other and making each other mad and riling each other up. And it's just like, this house is so chaotic.
You went to puppy prison. That's what that was. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like there were a few fights in the yard.
It was crazy. Well, she had friends flying in. We were talking about it for friends. I was talking about her on the last episode. She's the one who had three best friends from college flying
Oh
in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
One came in from Florida, and that's from another state. Someone came in from Houston, and they were seeing this house for the first time, and they were on it. They had like a dog trainer from Dallas that had a new, like, I think he just started this brand new facility, and he took like all of them,
Oh
but
wow.
like one or two, and he's rehabilitating them. And I think that's all she needed, but she didn't know how to do that. She didn't have the money to just give. You can't
Hmm.
just give these dogs, like, they're all going to get euthanized. If you
Yeah,
try and take these dogs somewhere to, surrender them, they're
like
going to
any
get,
sort of shelter, any sort of
yeah,
adoption
they're not
center,
going to
like,
take them.
or they, yeah, because I mean they can't. They're so
And she loved those
aggressive.
dogs so much. So what she thought she was saving them and keeping them from dying, from being euthanized, they were actually in the worst, not a good situation. But it was a happy ending because we got all the dogs rehabilitated and they didn't have to be euthanized.
Did she
And
have any like of her own before
yeah, so again, like, this is
the
where the trauma
training?
comes in. I think she'd lost her brother, so she had one of her brother's dogs, and her brother had died tragically. And then her boyfriend had left her, and it's just this downward spiral, and so she kept one of the dogs. It was like a boxer, which it was disabled somehow. I can't remember what was wrong with him.
Did it
Don't
have a
think he could walk.
wheelchair?
No, no, but I think he was just
They're so
dragging
cute when
I
they
think he
have
was just like
wheelchairs.
dragging his legs behind him or something. It was really sad. But she kept
At least give
him.
him a skateboard or something.
She kept him because it was her brother's. It was very sweet.
I mean, that is very sweet. But like, poor guy. I mean, at least he's in a loving home.
Yeah.
Because there are so many disabled dogs that aren't.
Yes.
Like one of my roommates in college worked at animal shelter, and the amount of dogs that they would get that were not only just abused, but just had, either birth defects because they came from like a puppy mill where they didn't take care of the dogs, like the dogs were just breeding like crazy. They'd be paralyzed. There was one or quite a few with like 3 legs. They never, and I'm glad that they didn't, because this sounds bad hoping for it, but I never saw a little dog in a wheelchair. Like they were always 3-legged dogs, but no 2-legged dogs with like the missing back legs where they just kind of hobble around. I always wanted to see that.
Oh.
But thankfully there weren't. Thankfully there was no one treating dogs that poorly in Huntsville. But yeah, I mean, like the amount of disabled animals, and then families typically don't want those dogs because they can't run around and play with children. They're not outside dogs to go hiking or camping with. So like, it is a very specific type of person, I feel like, that can take on those, not just they match my, or it's agreeable with my lifestyle, but then to put out that effort to take care of those special needs that dog
it's a different
has to
type
have.
of.
Yeah.
And then I think any more than 2 cats or 2 dogs, I struggle with having 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I could never imagine 5, 6 plus dogs or 9 plus cats. There's no way.
And it's I hate that one of the most common questions, and it's just kind of like, yeah, it's true, is the crazy cat lady stereotype, because I know plenty of people who take care of animals. I've known plenty of people that have multiple animals, and then they also take care of wild or stray cats.
I think if you've got your life together and you can take care of that many animals, but if your life isn't, if you're
in shambles,
if you're struggling,
if you're in shambles,
if you're struggling, then your animals are going to struggle, because what happens when you get sick, for example, and you're down for a few days, and then all these animals, like,
especially when you can't take care of yourself.
Yes.
And then you get, like, you're already unable to take care of yourself fully and clean, make sure that you're living in a healthy environment. But then, like you've said before, like, you get sick for a couple days or a week, and then there's mess on the floor, and then you miss a trash day or whatever. But it's like, I guess I didn't think about it in the way of like pets, because like, yeah, you're taking care of yourself, but you can't take care of your home. That's understandable. But when they have pets, it's like, you can't take care of, even like, you can't take care of yourself, obviously, and you're not doing them much of a favor by having this type of space. But now you're also neglecting them on top of that, because you're sick, because of these other issues that you're dealing with. I've just never thought about like how not poorly treated these animals are, but just how much they go through. Yeah, they're super loved. I mean, these people would do anything for these animals, except clean.
Yeah. Well, you're supposed to have 1 cat litter tray per cat. So if you have 9 cats, you're supposed to have like 9 litter trays. Well, something like that. 5.
We solved that problem by just making the whole living room a litter tray.
Yeah.
We've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah. You know the Pied Piper?
Uh-huh.
What was it that he had? Was it rats?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, this lady was like the Pied Piper. She said at night, this house that we cleaned out, they would come up to her and she would hand feed them, these rats.
That's so cool.
She said they were like her friends, and they were everywhere, all over. The house was overrun. It wasn't the special rat house that we just talked about, this is another house full of rats. And I remember we found like there was a drawer, and we opened this drawer up, and there were these baby, like day old rats. I don't know if you've ever seen
The little bitty hairless, squishy looking things. Like their eyes are still dark because they're undeveloped.
I found a baby. I found a few of brand new tiny baby day old rats, and they're super cute. I actually did save those ones. I put them into like into the out into the grass and hoped that they would survive.
The babies?
Well, we were trying to clean the house out, and they were just there in the house. We had to get rid of them before we.
I feel like the babies.
They could have either gone into the dumpster or into the grass in the back.
Well, at least they'll make good hawk and snake food.
Yeah, there were some kittens in that back shed too, so they probably had them.
The speed at which you just accepted that, like, yeah, probably they're dead. They're probably
But
dead.
it's better than throwing them away, you know. Joe Exotic. I wish we were able to go clean his house out or something.
That would have been fun. We just would have found a bunch of meth and probably gay stuff. I think it's important that we do talk about like what we can do for seniors in our community or organizations. We'll definitely need to over time like highlight some of these organizations like Meals on Wheels. A good friend of ours is I believe one of the on the board or something around here. Maybe she just helps out, but I know they do it's not just Meals on Wheels, it's like specifically for seniors.
Yeah.
And they go out on specific days. And it's a huge need in our community, in every community.
But this is what's crazy too, because I've done a house with she's had a caseworker. She's not able to take care of herself. She gets Meals on Wheels brought to her every day, 3 days, 3 times a day, whatever it is. And she has a caseworker, but she was living in a completely hoarded out home, and they weren't even the people that like decided to say, hey, you need to sort yourself out, you need to fix this. It was the apartment complex for saying that it was a fire hazard from all the boxes in front of the window.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you have people coming into your house every day, and you have a caseworker, and how are you still living like this in
how
years?
Has no one done anything?
And like they did finally, like they found us, and we went down, and we've been down twice now, and we've moved her to a bigger apartment.
But how long do you think that took between them like starting like having a caseworker and these people working with her, and it like, do you think it wasn't that bad whenever all of that started and she had those people enter her life, and then it just got worse?
Yeah, I think
so. Maybe they were numb to it or like unaware of it as it got worse.
Because when she had moved out, we packed her up and we kind of moved her. And when she was gone and we were clearing up the rest, like the caseworkers were coming in, they were like, I had no idea that she was living like this. Some of them were just like, this is mind blowing. I'm like, surely you see this a lot more than
yeah.
Like she can't be the only one that does this, because
especially the elderly.
Yeah. And she collected teddies, she collected Build-A-Bears, she had thousands of Build-A-Bears everywhere. Like that was her hoard, was teddies and just a load of other junk. But
Build-A-Bears is a very specific choice, though. I feel like,
well, maybe it's
because you have to go make that shit.
Yeah, I know. I wondered that, and I was like, did she like go in there and then because you can speak into those little
yes,
maybe she put like little sayings in them. I tried to press some of them.
Lonely or porters?
But she had one cat.
They just have them.
Janice Joplin was his name.
Oh, I like that.
And the house that we just did recently, they had 5 cats, and one of their cats was Stevie Nicks.
I like that.
I love cats.
See, I like well-behaved cats. Like if you can promise me, this is why I'll never get a cat, because you have no certainty of whether that's going to be a chill cat or not.
I know, I love cats too.
It can just turn into an asshole, and I don't want the chance of an asshole.
Yeah, and then the furniture, and then when they do that knock, they knock shit off the side and things smash.
And you know me, I have too many tchotchkes. I have too many doodads and baubles and gizmos galore.
All your walls, are covered in all these tchotchkes. Like I could just see them jumping, and yeah, you don't need a cat.
Yeah, I'd
Don't get
either
that.
get a cat that knocks literally everything off, or I'd get the one acrobat that like just doesn't touch anything, but constantly puts me in a panic, running back and forth. I just Cats are too much of a risk. I feel like dogs are a much safer investment, but that's just me.
Yeah.
You live in a place where animals are using the restroom. There are now chemicals in the air that you're breathing in.
Mhm.
These animals are breathing it. It's not good for either of you. Um,
I would
so
love.
it
I
really is
would.
like, I know pets are a sensitive topic, but sometimes if you have a loved one like that, sometimes you just have to
I do
come in
wonder
with a
what
hammer.
like the ammonia like long-term effects are on your body and on your.
I know what the short term effects are from the mummified cat house pulling up that carpet. It was so laden with cat pee and ammonia that when me and one of our coworkers, we were rolling up the carpet and we pulled up a huge chunk in the bedroom, and we almost we had our respirators on, hazmat
Like the
suits,
full respirators.
full respirators, and it was so strong that the little cracks in our respirators, it was getting through and was
Wow.
making us nauseous. Like that was the
I remember
first
you
time
having a lot. You had to keep taking breaks because you were like throwing. I
I
think you
was
threw
throwing
up.
up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I threw up at least twice that day. What's the grossest piece of furniture you've ever found? This is what people really want to hear about.
I mean, the the one job we did a walkthrough recently where again she just had this pathway to her chair, and my coworker was like, "So where do you sleep?" And she's like, "Right here." And it's like, "Where do you go to the bathroom?" "Right here." Like, "Where do you
Oh,
eat?" "Right here."
like
And she said, I have. She said, all I really want. She couldn't get into her bedroom anymore because she'd hoarded that out. All she really wanted was her recliner out of the garage. She had a brand new recliner in there, and so we open the garage, and as the garage door is just slowly rising, it's full to the brim, and like we're just seeing stuff, and it's just boxes and boxes of unopened
almost comical.
products. And we remember like looking over, and we were like, "What recliner?" And then we went back into the house, and we're like, "Yeah, it's probably going to be like a whole day of clearing the garage out just to get the recliner, and then another 3 days to clear her house out to get the recliner into her house." I learned about a new book today.
Ooh,
It's the Swedish way of death cleaning. It's called
I've heard
dostedning.
about
Have you
this.
heard it? Dostedning
Yeah, I
is
mean,
the
I've
Swedish
heard about it.
term.
I don't remember anything about, like, I remember hearing people being like, "Yeah, I'm doing, my mom's
Death
death
cleaning.
cleaning,"
Yeah.
and it's like,
Okay. And
what?
so it's not a morbid thing at all. It's
Yeah,
more that they're clearing the clutter before they die, so that their children are not left with the burden of all this clutter. And so I had a kind of lasting thought. If you died tomorrow, um, and your family came and opened your front door, what would they find? Would it be a burden, or would it be a blessing?
and make sure that you're taking care of yourself too,
Yeah.
because we'll see some people that they take great care of their pets. Like their pets might even be doing well, because cats can climb and do whatever. They can live in adverse spaces, but they don't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So make sure that, yeah, you're loving your pets, but make sure that you're loving yourself too.
Yeah.
I think that's most important.
All right.
Oh, I love
I
us.
love us.